So I wanted to share with you the setup that I personally use to read Japanese visual novels. If you look at the left-hand side of the screen, that's my visual novel, and the right-hand side of the screen is what I call a reading page, which is essentially where I'll be reading the text from the visual novel. So to give you a quick demonstration, as I progress through the visual novel, the Japanese sentence is imported into the reading page, as well as an English translation, and also we have the option to do word-by-word lookup simply by hovering our cursor over a Japanese word. Now, there's a lot of different customization options available. This is just generally what I choose to do. And before we get into those customization options, we need to actually set everything up. So this video is intended to be a follow-along guide where you can, side by side follow along with me and set everything up for yourself that I'm showing you on the screen right now. I've documented every step that I'm taking here in a web page, which is vntrans.github.io. So if you are following along, I definitely do recommend you check out that webpage, and I will be using that webpage frequently in this video. So to get things started, we're going to want to download Google Chrome if you haven't downloaded it already. All you need to do is simply click on the link, which will take you to the Download Chrome page, where you can proceed with the download. So our step 2 here is going to be changing the system locale on our Windows computer into Japanese. We need to do this because Japanese visual novels are generally programmed to run on Japanese computers. And essentially, we're going to imitate a Japanese computer. Now, these changes are completely reversible, so don't worry about screwing up some program on your computer because you can always change it back in less than a minute. And okay, so what are these steps? Well, there's opening the control panel, which you can do by going to the search bar and typing in control panel and clicking on that. Once that menu opens up, we have something that looks like this. It is going to look a little bit different depending on your version of Windows and potentially other things, but essentially we're going to try to want to find something that looks like clock and region, and then we should find something that says change date, time, or number formats. Then we can click on that, and it brings us to the menu that we are concerned with. So this formats menu is going to change the time, but we do not need to do this for the purposes of this tutorial. However, it is good to keep in mind because it is possible that some Japanese visual novels will require you to be in Japanese time, although that is rare. And if you do need to do that, you can just change it in this drop-down and hit apply. But we do not need to do that now. We can simply go to the administrative tab, and this button here, change the system locale, is what we're going to click on. Right now I'm in the English United States system locale, but we're going to want to change that into the Japanese system locale. So I typed in J, it brought me down to Japanese. We hit OK. It's going to prompt us to restart our computer. You don't have to do it immediately. You can cancel and close out, save all of your work on your computer, and then restart. And then you will be in the Japanese system locale. So step 3 is to download the visual novel that we're actually going to be playing. For the purposes of this tutorial, I've chosen the visual novel Hokago no Futeki Kakusha, but you could theoretically replace it with another visual novel as well. Although I would recommend following along with me and downloading this demo version here. Yes, the game has a demo version that's free, so anyone is able to download it for free, and it's from a reputable visual novel company. The download link, I've provided a direct download link here at this URL, So we're going to go ahead and copy this, paste it into Google, and the download has started. So my download has finished, and I can access the file by clicking on the arrow and clicking Show in Folder. This brings me to my Downloads folder in File Manager, and it shows the recent download, and this is a compressed file. So we need to uncompress it, which we can do with the default Windows tool, and we can do that by right-clicking on it and doing the Extract All option. Now, and then simply clicking the Extract. Now, if you're using a different version of Windows, the Extract All option may be in a different position. It may be slightly harder to find, but generally we're just extracting the compressed file so that we can access the files inside it. Okay, and as you can see, this brings up a new File Manager window. But really it's just the same thing as the old one. It's just in the Downloads folder. So I'll close out of the new window since we already have it open. And we're going to want to open it up again, and these are the game files. So if you look back at my steps here, we're in the main game folder. And then we're going to want to, let me go back. We're going to want to, this is the main executable that launches the game. And we can create a shortcut so that this is easier to find instead of having to go into the Downloads folder, into this folder, into this folder. We can right-click on the icon, send to, and send it to desktop to create a shortcut. And now I can even close out of my file manager entirely, because if we look at my desktop, look what has just been created. That is a shortcut to start the visual novel. And you know what? I'll go ahead and do it. So perfect. And if this game is not starting after you double-clicked on it, that might mean that you did not change your system locale properly in step 2. Alright, step 4 is to download the program called Textractor, which is a program that can take text out of a visual novel and put it into a format that is able to be copy and pasted and that we can do some different translation software on. The direct link can be found here. You just need to click on it. The actual project itself is on GitHub, and you can go to it by clicking on this link. So the download's finished. I'm going to show it in my File Explorer and double click on it. We're going to do the recommended install for all users. We're going to say yes here. We're going to install it in English. And now we need to pick a folder to install it in. I'm going to choose Documents, but you can choose whatever you like. And we are going to finish with the installation. Now, once the installation is complete, I'm going to the folder Documents, which is where I installed it to. And now we have the Textractor folder, which has a 64-bit version and an 86-bit version. We're going to do the 86 one for our project. And this is sort of the different files that make up the program. The file that we are going to be concerned with mainly is this one, the main application. It's just the one with the green T. And we're going to actually make a shortcut on our desktop so that we can get to it more easily. Now if I go to my desktop, we have the game as a shortcut here, and we have the Textractor as a shortcut here. And when I click on this, it will pop up the Textractor program. So moving on to step 5, we have 2 different Google Chrome extensions that we're going to be using in our browser. The first extension, Locale, helps us to translate Japanese word by word. And we can install both of them. Well, click on the link for Locale, and then you can add to Chrome, add extension, and then it will appear in our toolbar up here as an icon. Likewise, we're going to do the same thing for the clipboard inserter, which is an extension that will help us actually put text into the browser from Textractor. Now, both of the extensions are located in this puzzle piece icon, and I would recommend pinning both of them so that you can easily click on them in your Google Chrome toolbar. Lastly, there's one configuration change we need to make to the clipboard inserter extension in order to make it work correctly with the reading pages that we're going to be using. So, in order to do this, right-click on the clipboard inserter icon, click on Options, change this to div, and change this to 100. And we can simply click away and X out of it, and now the settings have been updated. So step 6 is where everything starts to come together. We're going to open up a reading page in our browser, which is where all of our reading is going to be done and all of our translation is going to be done. Let's go ahead and open up My Reading Page, which opens this blank screen, and this is where our text is going to appear. Now let's turn on the clipboard inserter extension, and let's turn on Locale. Now once we move on to the next step, we're going to have text populating into this page. You can also, if you like, check out the additional reading page, which was not created by me, but it does have additional nice customization options if you so desire. Congratulations on making it to step 7. This is the step where we can actually start reading the game. Let's go to the desktop, and using those 2 shortcuts that we've created earlier, first of all, let's open the game. This is the game. Let's go to the main menu. And now let's open up Textractor. When you open up Textractor, there are 4 different windows that can appear, and we're really only concerned with the first one for now. This is the main window, and we're going to need to attach Textractor to the game with the Attached Game button up here. In this menu, you will see a list of all the executables currently running on your computer. One of those, which is the game. So that would be this one. You might also have a lot more here, and you're going to need to find the one that's exactly matching, or this will not work. Okay, I clicked OK. Everything looks good. We have no error message, so that means we're successfully attached to the game. Now we need to just find a text channel that actually has the text of the game in it. And all of the text channels are found in this top menu here. Right now there's only 2 of them. There's the console and there's the clipboard. Those are not really text channels. But the other text channels will appear here once we start playing the game. So let's get into it. I'm going to go to the Start from the Beginning button, and this starts the game. Oh, look at that. This is the first sentence in the game. Now let's see if Textractor was able to successfully get it. Okay, look at that. There are 6 new channels. So each channel can represent different stuff. For example, this one seems to represent the menus at the top of the screen. But we also, so we need to look through them and find the one that's going to match this. So we just need to go through them one by one. And look, it's this last one. An exact match between the Japanese up here and down here. And yes, this is copy and pastable if you like. And it actually is automatically being copied to our clipboard by the program. And we can see that by looking at the extensions. We also, you may have noticed the English translation, which is also an extension right here. That's the Google Translate extension. And it's basically going to do these extensions in order. Remove repeated characters is just useful. Regex filter we're not using now, but you could use it in the future. Copy to clipboard, we are definitely using that because we're using that to actually get it into Chrome. If you remember that we installed the clipboard inserter extension, that is why we're copying it to the clipboard. We also have the Google Translate, which you later should replace with DeepL Translate because DeepL Translate is better generally. And then you can just ignore those extra windows and extra new lines. Okay, so here's the fun part. Well, you can already see this stuff here. And if I click to the next sentence, we go back to our Textractor, and it's there too. So now you can just play the visual novel, and there's the stuff. But if you remember, we set up a reading page. So this guide is not only how to use Textractor, it's how to use a full-on reading page. And let's go look. Okay, a couple of things. First of all, everything that we had copied to the clipboard was here. So that includes the random nonsense at the beginning. But now that we're on the correct channel, it will no longer show all of these unrelated things. So we don't need to worry about that. And if you wanted to, you could refresh the page and turn back on your extensions and get a clean page. However, let's not worry about it for now because these are actually going to go down off of the page eventually as you're reading new sentences. You may have noticed at the top the new sentences appeared. Now, the second question is, why didn't the English appear in here? That's just happening because the order of the extensions was copying it to the clipboard before the translation. So if I switch these around and I do it again, now we have an English translation here. Also, you may have noticed that the program missed one of those sentences in here. It doesn't do that often. It just happened because we were just starting the game. So to fix that, if you want to translate it again, you can just come up here and highlight it with your cursor, and then it will copy it to clipboard and therefore bring it into your reading page. Now, why did we install the Kaikun extension? Well, that's so you can go and actually hover over a word. So now, as you see, I hover over a Japanese word, and I get some nice English translation. So we've set up a reading page, and now we're on to step 8, the last step. And this step is largely dependent on what exactly you're trying to do, but generally it involves configuring Textractor to better meet your needs. So one of the main things that you might be interested in is, instead of using Google Translate, we can use DeepL Translate. DeepL Translate currently has a much better accuracy of translation than Google Translate. So it's definitely worth it if you want a full sentence English translation. Now, do keep in mind that even DeepL is not going to be entirely accurate, and in fact, often it will be inaccurate. Okay, to set this up, we go back to our main Textractor window. We go to the Extensions menu, and we're going to get rid of the Google Translate. And actually, before I show you the DeepL Translate, now if I go and play my game, a new sentence appears, a new sentence appears. And as you can see, they're also appearing here without any English translation. And they will, also be appearing in our reading page. So this is one type of thing that you might be interested in if you're a learner of the Japanese language. Because now you can read in Japanese, you can take your time, and if you want to look up an individual word, say there's a complicated kanji character that you don't know, you can just hover over it. And thanks to the Gaikun extension, we are provided a translation. Now, if you want a deep L translation, what you're going to do is go back. We're going to right-click in this white area, add an extension, and these are all the extensions that we can possibly add. They all do various things, which you kind of have to just figure out, but really the only one I'm going to use is DeepL Translate. So let's add that in. We have a new window popping up. That's our DeepL Translate window. Stuff in here, you might want to configure that as well, but before we do that, let's actually make the DeepL Translate work. Because DeepL Translate, the thing about it is it needs an API key from DeepL to actually successfully translate. So doing a new sentence in the game, if we go back to Textractor, okay, it actually does work now, but that's only because you can do a little bit of translation for free using DeepL without the API key. But after maybe 100 sentences or so, maybe less, you will need to add an API key, which is also free, but you just have to set it up. So the API key can be obtained by going to the DeepL website and creating a developer account. There's a free plan and a pro plan, as you see here. The free is going to be more than enough for our purposes. It provides up to 500,000 characters per month for free. So click here, create an account, and then once you're done with the account, you'll reach a page like this when you go to the account tab of your page. And it'll have an API key in this field. I've blacked out mine, but then you just copy that key, you paste it into this field, whatever it is, and then it'll work. And you can translate up to 500,000 characters per month for free. These other settings you will need to sort of learn by experience, but you can sort of limit the amount that your stuff like how fast you're sending a request to DeepL to translate, and the maximum character size of the actual sentence that you're translating. Alright, so that is essentially my entire reading process. Don't forget to check out vntrans.github.io, because in that webpage I am also going to be putting additional information at the bottom of it that you would definitely want to check out, because you can do a lot more customizations that I did not show in this video.